What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello and welcome. In today's video, we are going to be doing a foundation wear test with the new Dior Forever Hydra Nude foundation. I didn't even know that Dior came out with a new foundation. Honestly, it wasn't until I was watching Sophia C's Beauty's video on the new Dior spring collection that I even knew that this existed. But not only did it look beautiful on her skin, it applied nicely and wore all day, but my ears perked up when she said that this was formulated with more than 50% water and compared it to the Chantecaille Future Skin Gel Foundation, which is a holy grail of mine. If I could only have one foundation in my collection, that would 100% be it. So I immediately knew I had to pick this one up, give it a spin, and try it out on my skin. Now, for reference, I am 39 years old. I do live in a very hot, humid climate. Generally, we're having a very cold snap today, so heat and humidity is kind of out the window, but I do have normal dry leaning skin, and generally I like my foundation to have a light to medium coverage, and I want it to be a more natural skin-like finish. So that is what this foundation claims to do. We are going to try it on, see how it applies, and give it a full day's wear test. I will have this foundation linked and listed down below in the description box, as well as everything else that I wear on my face today to complete my look. So per usual, if you're ever curious about anything I use in any of my videos here on my channel, always check the description box. I squeeze as much information as I possibly can into that tiny little space. But let's go ahead and zoom in, get my hair out of my face, and we're gonna kick off this wear test. Alright, so before we start applying this to the skin, let's go over all the details of this foundation. So it is going to retail for $57, and it comes in a whopping 18 shades. I know, impressive, right? It could go a lot deeper and a lot lighter, and there could be a lot more undertones in between, but let's be honest, Dior has never been known for their fantastic shade range when it comes to their complexion products. But I did pick up shade 0 in. It's the lightest one in the range, and when I ordered it off of Ulta, you can do like a shade match with your foundation. So you could enter one that you have in your collection that's a perfect match, and it'll give you a recommendation. So I put in my Chantecaille, which is in the shade Aura, and this is the one that they popped up. So it looks pretty promising. We'll see. I think it's going to be a good shade match. But according to the Dior website, this is going to deliver medium coverage with an invisible finish and 24-hour wear. It's infused with hyaluronic acid for 48 hours of hydration. Skin breathes comfortably all day. Created with over 50% water, the fresh, lightweight formula includes 90% natural origin ingredients and mineral pigments for a flawless, natural looking result. We'll see. I'm excited about this though, like I said. So we're going to start applying this to the skin. I am going to do one half of my face with a brush and the other half with a sponge. Generally a lighter, more natural looking foundation. I like it better when it's applied with a brush, but I want to test it out with a sponge as well and see what it's going to do. Generally, I like to do my more full matte foundations with a sponge because it kind of thins it out a little bit and adds a little bit of luminosity, but we're going to test it out both ways. Also, I want to mention that I am barefaced. The only thing I have on my skin is my skincare and my SPF. When I do an initial foundation wear test, I like to test it with no primer, powder, or setting spray. I want to see what the power of the foundation is on its own because I know there's a lot of people that don't use those products. So I will continue to test it on down the road with different primers, powders, and setting sprays and see if that's going to extend the longevity, break it down, or mess with the formula in any way. But for today, bare skin is how we're going to roll. So I'm going to go ahead and start by applying it with a brush. I have my Anissa foundation brush, so I'm just going to put a little bit right here on my brush, and we're gonna start applying it. I'm gonna apply it to the one half of my skin, and then we'll do like a side-by-side comparison. That is a really good shade match for me. It could have a little bit more of a cool undertone to it, but I can pull off a neutral as long as it's not too warm neutral leaning, if you know what I mean. This is heavily fragranced. It has that Dior perfume to it. So if you've used Dior products before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It does seem a little bit stronger than some of the other ones I have tried before, but I really only smelled it upon first application, and as I'm blending it out, it is kind of dissipating it and I don't really smell it as much anymore. But that looks beautiful on the skin. It is a medium coverage. It looks very hydrating, very glowy, but it doesn't look greasy and oily on my skin. It doesn't look unnatural. It has a very skin-like texture and finish to it. So far I am impressed with the way that it's applying and it's looking on my skin, but honestly the true test is going to be how it wears all day. But we're just going to keep pressing this in the skin, and then once I have it applied, we'll come back and we'll apply it to the other side with a sponge. Alright y'all, so this is what we are looking like with the foundation applied to half of my face, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful. It doesn't look like it's sitting on top of the skin. It feels like it's meshing really nicely. It has a beautiful natural glow to it, and it is 100% a medium coverage. You can still see a little bit of kind of my redness and freckles peeking through, which doesn't bother me, but it didn't cover it 100%. So let's go ahead and apply it to the other side with a sponge. So I have a clean, damp makeup sponge right here, and I'm just going to put a little bit on the back of it, and we're going to start kind of pouncing this in the skin. Now, like I said, generally I don't like to use my lighter, more natural coverage foundations with a sponge, just because a sponge tends to kind of soak up the product and thin it out a little bit, but you never know. There's definitely a couple in my collection that do look really pretty applied with a sponge, but I can tell you based off of first application, this is thinning it out a little bit. So if you want a lighter coverage with this, you could 100% go in with a sponge, and there are days that I prefer a lighter coverage, but I do still think it looks really pretty. I just like the side applied with a brush better. It's a personal preference thing. Alright, so now that I have one layer applied, I want to see if I can build up this foundation just a little bit more and kind of give it a more medium coverage. So I'm going to apply a little bit more with my sponge just right here in my cheek area where I have a little bit more of that redness, and I want to see if this is going to build up on top of itself, or if it's just going to keep kind of thinning out into nothing, if it's going to pill, if it's going to lift, or if it's going to do anything like that. And it definitely looks like it built up a little bit more coverage in my cheek area. You can see it took down a little bit of that redness, so it's kind of balancing out with what I have going on the other side of my face. So nice and buildable, but personally, if you want a medium coverage, just go in with a brush. You're going to use less product, it's going to be less wasteful, and it's going to take you less time. But I'm just going to go ahead and kind of make sure that we are nicely dispersed, everything is nicely blended, and then I'm going to go in with concealer, bronzer, blush, and highlighter, and I will come back and show you what my complexion is looking like. Alright y'all, so this is what the complexion is looking like now that I have the rest of my products on, and I think it looks beautiful. I think my skin looks very natural. It looks very hydrated, very healthy. It doesn't look or feel heavy or cakey. I don't feel like I have a ton of makeup on my face. It just gives me that my skin but better feel, which is what I prefer in a foundation. And as far as applying the other products on over top, which I did go in with my Auric face palette, I went in with the bronzer, blush, and highlighter. I threw a little bit of the blush on my lips to give me a little bit of color, and for concealer I went in with my Catrice under eye brightener and threw on a little bit of the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin over top, and then I did set down my under eyes just a little bit with my Kosas Cloud Set powder just right under the eyes, like I said, because I am going to do an eye look for another video in just a minute, and I didn't want to risk fallout or messing up my my makeup in any way. But I think the products meshed in with this foundation beautifully. Nothing lifted, nothing pilled, it didn't start to patch or do anything weird. So based off of first application, I am really impressed with this foundation. I am very hopeful that it's going to be long wearing like it claims it to be. We are going to get a full 10 to 12 hour wear out of this foundation today, and generally that's what I look for. I need my foundation to give me a solid 10 hours. If it can go 12, even better, but I'm the type of person who puts my makeup on first thing in the morning and I wear it all day. I don't bother with touch-ups, I don't bother with reapplication or anything like that. So I am going to go throughout the rest of my day. I don't think I'm going to be able to do a check-in. My youngest son has a dentist appointment today, so that's kind of smack dab in the middle. We've got some bad weather going on. My oldest son is sick. There's just a lot, but I will definitely come back at the end of the day and show you what my complexion is looking like and give you my first initial impression thoughts. Alright y'all, so I've had this foundation on for about 11 hours at this point, and I think my complexion still looks really beautiful. I didn't have any issues as far as wear time goes with this one. It didn't start to break down, pill apart, it's not rubbing off around my cheek, it's not settling into my lines on my forehead, emphasizing texture or doing anything like that. I do feel like it's nice and hydrating, but I don't feel like it's quite as hydrating as the stick foundation is that Dior came out with last year. I feel like that one has a slight bit more coverage to it and a little bit more hydration. So if you're someone who has maybe combination to oily skin and you want to have something that's a little glowy, a little hydrating with a natural skin finish, and that one was too much, this one might be a really nice option for you. However, I don't feel like this one is as natural looking on my skin as the Chantecaille foundation is. That one is probably the most natural finished foundation that I have in my collection, but this one is definitely very close, and I do really like the way that it looks and more on my skin. So I can definitely see this coming out as being a favorite foundation, one that I would definitely repurchase over and over, but I do need to keep testing it out. I want to try it with primers, powders, and setting sprays and see if that kind of extends the longevity, see if it kind of makes it wear a little bit better, although it did wear really nicely, but you never know how different products are going to react. So I will have to keep y'all updated in a future speed reviews video, but as of now, I really enjoyed it. I think it's beautiful, and I'm looking forward to keep testing it out and wearing it some more. But that is going to complete this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Let me know if you picked up this foundation, if you did, what you thought of it, what your skin type is. I want to know what your experience has been with it, or even if it's on your wish list. Let's have that conversation, light up that comment section. As always, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.